Hi, welcome to What the Heckle with Benn Farrell, the webcast. This is our second episode, and I really appreciate you coming back and checking me out here. This week we're going to talk about Mikel Kosich, who used to go to Mountain Vista High School. He was a boys tennis athlete there. And what's interesting about him is that he started really late. He started at age 14, and in our coverage area, they try and get you playing the sport of your choice really young, or at least playing sports really young, period. So that way you develop at a young age, get into the feeder programs and whatnot. But Mikel here, he didn't really have the frame to go off to college on a baseball scholarship or a basketball scholarship. He was also a ski athlete, so he decided to try boys tennis. And apparently he was very successful at it and eventually went to a tennis academy. He went on to college and he's doing really successful. He introduced himself to me, and we don't really do stories on alumni from our area, but this kid's story was interesting and I thought a little unique, and I thought we'd take the second episode of What the Heckle, the webcast, to go ahead and share his story. What I really like about this kid is that he just wants to be an example for younger players, younger athletes. He's got younger siblings. He just wants to set an example for them as well. And he's very genuine. And the other thing that makes it unique is this is the first time I've actually had to interview somebody over Skype, because he's actually attending Montana State University-Billings. And he's a yellow jacket up there. But he actually transferred there from LaSalle, and that's part of his story. So we're going to go to Mountain Vista High School. We're going to talk to his old coach, James Flanagan. We're going to see why he developed so quickly and so well, and get the gist of his story. We're going to talk to him on Skype, and hopefully you'll find his story as interesting as I did. So right now, let's head off to Mountain Vista and try and catch up with Coach Flanagan.
We are building a religion. We are building it bigger.
Just wanted to see what kind of development that Mikel actually did have and what James saw in him, and how they came to realize that a tennis academy his senior year would be the best thing for him. Of course, it's raining like crazy now, so I was supposed to catch Mountain Vista playing Thunder Ridge in a tennis meet, but obviously that's not happening today. Hopefully I can still find the coach.
His skill level was basic when I first saw him. He just picked up tennis probably about a year before. He was fortunate that his dad was a tennis pro at Inverness, and that's kind of how Mikel ended up coming to Mountain Vista. Is I knew him and I asked him to be my assistant coach, and he was looking to break into coaching. So I asked his dad, Mikel Kosich, if he would come coach with me. And going into his senior year, or his freshman year, he came, he was around the team a lot, he'd come to the matches, he'd see how Mountain Vista played, everything like that. And he said he wanted to play for his dad. So essentially what took place is he open enrolled, and the fact that his dad was a coach at the school did allow him to be able to play at Mountain Vista and open enroll at Mountain Vista.
So to help tell Mikel's story, we have Mikel here with us himself on Skype. And Mikel, being a baseball, basketball, and ski athlete at one time, what made you make that all-out switch to tennis at the age of 14?
I just realized tennis was going to take me farther than life, farther into athletic scholarships and college, and possibly farther than that. I still enjoy, I don't ski race anymore, I still enjoy going skiing in the winters and playing basketball. But basically just the all-out change was just to focus on really getting that college scholarship and possibly making it a career someday.
Between your freshman and sophomore seasons at Mountain Vista, what did you do in the off-season to develop to that #1 single spot?
I had an advantage of kind of knowing I was going to be playing that position the upcoming year with Reno graduating and having so many seniors. I really had the opportunity to focus right after that fall season ended, so had the whole spring and the summer to really prepare for it.
He went from 3 doubles as a freshman to #1 singles as a sophomore. We had a very senior-heavy team that year, so he definitely improved dramatically, but also he leapfrogged some guys who were like juniors and things like that. He played in the off-season, he played tournaments, he played intermountain tournaments, he started to get more competitive, and he played 1 singles as a sophomore. He did okay his first year, but his junior year he did exceptional.
The biggest thing I guess I would say I did is just have to mentally prepare to be a leader on the team as a sophomore, which, you know, is a young age and really having to mature quickly as a person within the team and as well on the tennis court, because I was going to be playing higher caliber players.
Now in your sophomore season, I know you hurt your back over Labor Day weekend, and that just gave you all kinds of battles for the rest of the year. Tell us a little bit about what you were dealing with there.
My sophomore season started out normal. Coach Flanagan let me play a national tournament over Labor Day, and unfortunately I got hurt, pulled my lower back and SI joint in the hip, and that had me out for a good month and a half. So I missed the season. We had a JV playing #1 at the Littleton tournament and in my place, and basically I did rehab, doctor's appointments, and got to about, I'd say 70-80% in order to play the regional match or the regional tournament. And, you know, unfortunately it just didn't work out and wasn't able to compete at my highest.
And what tennis academy did you end up going to between that and your junior season?
My father and I made a decision to transfer to Southern California to go to a tennis academy. At that point, it was just for the spring semester of sophomore year, and it was Wild Tennis Academy in Southern California. It's fun being tennis in a team aspect, and I would get that opportunity to do it at Vista again, and that's basically why I came back.
Probably the greatest amount of skill I've seen, having started that late. I've seen players definitely get better throughout the course of the season and throughout the course of the off season, but that's definitely probably the greatest growth I've seen, from 3 doubles to 1 singles in a year.
Now, I imagine it couldn't be easy for you. How hard was it for you on a personal level to make the decision to attend Stein360 your senior year, and what factors were going through your head at that point?
Obviously, it was a tough decision. After junior season, I went back to Weil and finished out my junior season there. And over that summer, just made the decision with some incidences that happened at the academy to get out of that academy. And my dad formed a partnership with Brad Stine, who was Jim Courier's old coach when he was #1 in the world and Grand Slam champion. And basically, my dad and I made the decision where he would become a partner with Brad and try to form a tennis academy up there, and I went up there, and that became my new home for senior year.
Michael and I actually sat down when he talked about doing that and talked about it. Essentially, I asked Michael what his goals were, and he said his goals were to play collegiate tennis and even Division I collegiate tennis. And I said, well, with where you're at right now, you're not there. As of his junior year, I mean, he had an 8-3 record, but he missed out on qualifying for state by 1 position. He took 3rd in his regional. So he missed out on qualifying for state. That usually means that there's, 16, it doesn't always mean that, but there's 16 guys that are better than you in the state of Colorado. So, we sat down and he said, I really want to play collegiately and even Division I. And I said, well, you're not completely going to be able to do that here with the growth. I'm not saying that you can't, but I also saw Michael was very social, and that's a good thing, but instead of going to hit sometimes, he'd probably go hang out with some girls or something like that. So I'd be like, if you go to an academy, you'll get that feel of like, hey, it's 8 a.m., I go hit for 4 hours. Then I go to school, and I hit for another 4 hours. And it's really going to raise the level of your game. And I said, that's a decision that you have to make as to what you want. If playing collegiately is more important to you, then that's a sacrifice you're going to have to make and decide on.
Mom stayed back in Colorado, and obviously that was tough. I haven't really been with my mom since sophomore year of high school when I was living at home. And so she, on the personal mom level, wanted me back home, her son, go to high school, be the regular kid. But obviously she understood the sacrifices I was making in order to, pursue the dream that I have still of, fulfilled one dream of being a Division I and now Division II college tennis player. Hopefully a national champion, Division II wise, and you know, hopefully a pro one day.
I wouldn't suggest it for every kid,
Right.
but I thought for him it was the right choice.
Now, at LaSalle, you went from the number 6 position to the number 1 position in your first season, and that's pretty incredible in itself. But then you decided to transfer to Montana State University-Billings to play for the Yellow Jackets. So what made you make that switch?
Coming in there as a freshman as well, it was a tough adjustment, and once I made that adjustment, I was able to really grow my game and earn that number 1 position. Basically, and you know, the guys are great on the team, great coach, great assistant coach, really good athletic program. It's just the tennis program in general was not heading in the direction I wanted it to. Between the guys the coaches were bringing in and recruiting, and you know, I wanted something more. And finishing near the bottom of a conference is not something I'd look forward to the next 4 years. And so, you know, I made the decision after the Atlantic 10 Championships to ask for my release and look at other schools. And basically the top schools it came down to were Gonzaga University in the West Coast Conference, University of Nevada, Reno in the WAC, University of Northern Colorado in the Big Sky, and both Montana State and the one I'm at now, Montana State-Billings. And basically what it came down to is where was I going to have an opportunity to not only play, but contribute to the team and where the team program was heading. And I picked Montana State-Billings because the coach here has a expectation of winning our conference and a goal of winning a national championship.
Well, I also imagine that another factor in making that decision was that your dad is the head coach of the men's tennis program for the Yellow Jackets.
He recruits to accomplish that goal. He runs his practice to accomplish those goals. And the team here is a team. You know, there's 10 guys that all want each other to win. And it's tough to find in tennis where one day you're competing against someone for a spot on the ladder and the next day you're hoping that they win so, you know, the team can get a win. And it was things like that that I just didn't see at other programs, and I think that'll take us farther and hopefully a national championship.
All right, well, that'll take care of episode 2 of What the Heckle with Benn Farrell, the webcast. Thanks for joining me, as always, and thanks for looking me back up. Next episode, I'm going to be running my first 5K, and we're going to learn about why and how I did and all that other stuff, so it's be a little bit of a challenge for me. If you have any ideas for future What the Heckle episodes, email me at bfarrell@ourcoloradonews.com, or you can reach me through my different social media sites. What the Heckle has a fan page on Facebook. We're also on YouTube. You can just search What the Heckle on YouTube and you can find me there. Until then, thanks for joining me again, and we'll see you soon.